Good morning, everybody. Thought I would do a quick update and not only on the Illinois case, but mention an article that has been put up on jw.org that infuriated me. Because, yeah, they're talking about themselves again, hypocrites. Okay, there was an order entered on April 7th, and thank you, sweetie, our friend in Illinois. Thank you very much for getting these documents to us and everything you're doing. We appreciate it very much. Attached is a court order entered by the state attorneys yesterday. Let's see, this is from the 8th, and I already did a video and it just didn't turn out right, so I have to redo it. Oh, and please excuse the black on my hands. No, I'm not injured or bruised. I have a super tanker printer and I was filling it back up with black ink, so I got black all over me. And it doesn't come off. Alright, I digress. The hearing dates of April 9th and May 5th have been stricken. That means they are not having those hearing dates. Instead, argument on the motion to quash and the motions in limine entered by the defendant's attorney has been set for April 29th, 2021. And I'll put the link down to these latest documents. And like I mentioned in my previous update on this case, you know, the elders in Watchtower are not wanting to produce evidence. And I would imagine that these elders' letters have been destroyed. And thank goodness, you know, that some elders do not destroy these letters and actually keep them. So that is a good thing. Now, right on the homepage at jw.org, did the Bible predict the way people think and act today? I don't know about that. But the thing is anybody, even the Bible writers, they can see human behavior. Our daughter was the top of her class in sociology because growing up a Jehovah's Witness, she could see the human behavior in these cults. And it's the same thing. All you have to do is look at human behavior. And those that don't learn from history and the past are destined to repeat it again. So, you know, this doesn't necessarily have to come from God, you know, the Father Almighty. It's just human behavior. You know, we can see it in Watchtower very plainly. We even see it in the XJW community. So I'm going to go through this article. The Bible's answer. Yes, the Bible foretold that people in general would change for the worse during our time. It indicated that this change would lead to a large-scale moral decay and collapse of social values. And we see that today. But the Bible also foretold that some people would not succumb to this breakdown. Rather, with God's help, they would work to overcome negative influences and to bring their thinking and actions in line with His will. Now, of course, we know they're going to say that they're the only ones doing this in the world. Yeah. What did the Bible foretell about people's thinking and actions in our day? And of course, we know they're using 2 Timothy 3, 2 through 4. Selfishness. Well, don't we see that? True to that prophecy, people in our day are often self-absorbed, focused on self-interest, self-gratification, self-fulfillment, and so forth. You can also add, they will put the cult before their family. And if you don't go along with their beliefs, or you're a dissenter, guess what? You're canceled, disfellowshipped, shunned. And we see it in the world and in these cults. So I see no difference at all. You know, they could be talking about themselves in this article. This is what was so infuriating about this. These traits are so common that some groups have been called the me generation. Many people are so interested in themselves and they are without love of goodness, lacking the capacity to love good qualities, being unthankful. They feel no need to show gratitude for what they have or for what others do for them. Well, you can add in there under the without love of goodness. They will listen to the governing body and watchtower. Oh, well, that's fake news about their child abuse problem. There's just a few isolated cases. We don't have a systemic problem of child abuse like the Catholic Church. See, without even checking out for themselves, they will just repeat what Watchtower tells them and what the elders tell them like parrots. So they're without love of goodness because they won't go check it out for themselves. Selfishness is the root of other attitudes that serve as a sign of our time. And here's where we get into Watchtower. I can compare every single one of these to Watchtower. Greedy, lovers of money are not uncommon, often measuring their success in life by their income or possessions. Oh, look it, we're growing by leaps and bounds. Look at all the kingdom halls we're building. They keep asking for money. Isn't the real Church of Christ supposed to be free? But every single one of these cults ask for money. Proud. Many are boastful, haughty, and puffed up with pride. Such ones brag and exaggerate their abilities, qualities, or wealth. Oh, look it. We just have so many coming to God's organization right now. No, you don't. No, you don't. You've got members leaving by entire families. Slanderous. Now, this is the one that really ticked me off. Blasphemers and slanderers are widespread. These expressions can refer to those who insult other people or God or who lie about them.
Another way we can contribute to the oneness, rejecting false stories that are designed to separate us from Jehovah's organization. As an example, think about the apostate-driven lies and dishonesties that Jehovah's organization is permissive toward pedophiles. I mean, that is ridiculous, isn't it? If anybody takes action against someone who would threaten our young ones and takes action to protect our young ones, it's Jehovah's organization. We reject outright such lies.
They used to say in Timothy, in their old Bible, New World Translation, that people were mentally diseased apostates. They've said it in their literature. I even called Bethel about, their slandering and saying that those who leave are lying apostates, telling half-truths and lies. Well, let's listen to a small clip of governing body Jeffrey Jackson. When asked about this very thing, he has to admit this.
Now, do you recognize, Mr. Jackson, and in asking this question, let me make it clear, I'm not suggesting it's peculiar to the Jehovah's Witness organization. There are many, many organizations in this position. But do you accept that the Jehovah's Witness organization has a problem with child abuse amongst its members?
I accept that child abuse is a problem right throughout the community, and it's something that we've had to deal with as well.
And do you accept that it's presented, I withdraw that, do you accept that the manner in which your organization has dealt with allegations of child sexual abuse has also presented problems?
There have been changes in policies over the last 20 or 30 years where we've tried to address some of those problem areas, and by the fact that we've changed the policy would indicate that the original policies weren't perfect.
And you accept, of course, that your organization, including people in positions of responsibility like elders, are not immune from the problem of child sexual abuse? That
appears to be the case.
And do you expect, Mr. Jackson, that many of the efforts that are being made by different people and organizations to highlight the issue of child sexual abuse and try and find solutions are genuine efforts to improve the situation?
I do accept that, and that's why I'm happy to testify.
And that such efforts are not necessarily an attack on your organization or its system of beliefs?
We understand that too.
You described earlier in your testimony that the work of this Royal Commission is beneficial. Do you accept then that the Royal Commission's efforts are genuine and well-intentioned?
I certainly do. And that's why we came into the Royal Commission hoping that collectively something would come forward that would help us as well as everybody else.
And would you disagree then with anyone who said that the efforts to highlight and deal with child sexual abuse in the Jehovah's Witness Church is engaging in apostate lies?
I guess that's a broad question, because sometimes those who make these accusations make many other accusations as well. But let me assure you, the person making the accusation is not the main thing. The main thing is there some basis to the accusation? And if there is some way that we can improve, the governing body is always interested in seeing how we can refine our policies. You see, Mr. Stewart, could I just emphasize, as a religion, two very strong things we feel. One is we try to keep a high moral standard, and secondly, there's love among the organisation. So we want to treat victims in a loving way.
So, I played the clip where Let says, apostates tell half-truths and lies about them hiding child abuse. And then here's Jeffrey Jackson. He has to admit, no, they're not apostate lies. Apparently, if you listen to his whole testimony, apparently they do have a problem. Okay, so which one of the governing body are lying? And Let is slandering apostates for lying. And a while back, there was a clip of the one guy says, they lie, those apostates lie about how we handle child abuse.
Well, today, wicked men and imposters use exactly the same techniques, and it's only going to get worse. They use lies and misrepresentation. They lie about how we deal with child abusers, how we care for the victims of child abuse. They twist statements that are made regarding our stand on blood, loyalty to families, disfellowshipping. They capitalize on what they perceive as errors, perhaps dogmatic statements we made in the past regarding a Bible prophecy or understanding of the time of the end, and then we later changed it.
Well, if this wasn't true, why aren't you suing us then for slander and libel? Because we have the clips. We have the court cases. This court case going on in Illinois right now. You know why? Because these elders hid it for over 12 years. Now, what's interesting about Pinkava in that case is that he is a certified educator for 35 years. I would like to go ask the school, do you know, are you aware that this teacher, this educator, who knows he's supposed to report child abuse in this state, are you aware that he's claiming he's a, alleged clergyman and the clergy patent privilege and did not report a child abuse case for over 12 years? Are you aware of that? And he did this while working at the school. So, how many other cases did he not report? Was there any at the school he did not report? These are questions that I would like to ask, Oh, like I said. All right, back to the article. Obstinate. Many people are disloyal, not open to any agreement, betrayers, and headstrong. They show these qualities by refusing to negotiate, to work out solutions, or to honor agreements they have previously made. Oh boy, that opens a whole can of worms. My mom told my daughter and I back in October of 2012 that she would not shun us, that she still loved us. Well, guess what? January 2013 was the last time she talked to me. And if I try to contact her, guess what? Whatever I send her goes in the trash. She told me that. Mike's mom, he writes her a letter. She shreds it by hand and sends it back. She's blocked our number. So you want to talk about obstinate? These governing body, will they listen to any of these protesters or any of us XJWs speaking out? Will they negotiate? No, they won't. They're very obstinate. Violent. Many today are fierce, readily giving in to anger, which often leads to brutal or savage actions. Well, I consider shunning brutal. It's one of the worst psychological things you can do to a person. And our families who claim to love us do this to us. All you have to do is go look at some of these Kingdom Hall crashes where these elders, these gangs of goons, will push people.
Our elders. There in Ephesians 4 and verse 8, it calls them gifts in men. Now, in Ephesians 4 verse 12, if you look down there, it describes what they would be doing. It says, with a view to the readjustment or the training of the holy ones for ministerial work to build up the body of the Christ.
Get out.
So they would be readjusting, they would be building up.
Turn that off.
So elders,
You can't touch this
Jehovah
equipment.
has given you.
You're on our property. Get your hands off this equipment. Get the hands off the equipment.
Faithful
You cannot touch any. You cannot touch any of this
of
equipment.
power and authority. And he's given it to you to care for his precious sheep and expect that Jesus' example will be followed. It does remain that if we're not that way, it's a gift that can be returned. So as elders, we have to keep striving to follow Jesus' example.
No reason.
So ask yourself, how can I imitate Jesus in his use of power? Well, first, we have to have the mind of Christ. And to do that, it means spending time in the Gospels, really examining his pattern of thinking, the chief shepherd. And by doing that, having that mental attitude, that means they're going to be able to do always what is good, always for building up, never tearing down the sheep. And we're sure that you brothers are going to do that. You're going to follow that Christ-like love, and by doing that, you'll be a powerful force for good in the congregation.
But now what about that aspect or that trait of being provoked? How do we personally imitate Jehovah and Jesus in this regard? Well, we're going to mention 3 points. Number 1, think about how our actions will reflect on Jehovah's name and affect others spiritually. So before we react, we need to think about how our reaction is going to affect Jehovah God. And then we need to think about how our action will affect the person we're going to react to, or possibly the person that's watching us in how we respond. How will it affect their spirituality?
And please be assured that the governing body loves each of you very much. More important, never doubt for a moment that Jehovah and Jesus love all of you very much, and that your faithful conduct is making their hearts rejoice.
They get physical. Look at in Rio Rancho. You know, we did a video about that. The cameraman got hit in the nose by an elder. Lawless. Jesus foretold an increasing of lawlessness during our time. He also predicted widespread disturbances or uprisings. If the law of the land says you have to report child abuse and you refuse and try to say, well, if you had better laws, we would comply. No, you don't. New Mexico is a mandatory reporting state. I know of 3 cases that did not get reported. How is that following the law? To me, that shows lawlessness. This case in Illinois, these elders are lawless. The legal department in Watchtower, lawless. They know they should, by just moral obligation, report these cases. Lacking family love. Oh boy, that's a big one. That's a big one. Every single Jehovah's Witness who is shunning someone is lacking family love and natural affection. Every single one of them. I don't care how good of a person they are. These elders being hauled into these court cases, I don't care how good of a guy they are. I don't care how nice of a person they are. If they have hid a abuse case going on that they knew about, they are not good people. They are lacking love for their fellow humans. They're lacking love for children. Watchtower is big on lacking love for protecting these children. Religiously hypocritical. Oh my God. An increasing number of people have a mere appearance of godliness. Ain't that the truth? Rather than submit to God's will, they follow religious leaders who tell them what they want to hear. You're special. You're God's chosen people. All the others in the world are going to be destroyed by Jehovah, but you will survive Armageddon. You're his special possession.
And that question is how? How do we get a firm hold on the real life? To attain the real life, you must be a baptized Christian servant of Jehovah. To attain the real life, you must be a baptized Christian servant of Jehovah God.
You're special. And we've been doing videos for 8 years now, exposing their religious hypocrisy. Going on, what effect would selfish people have on others? Rampant selfishness has produced an epidemic of mental and emotional distress. For instance, some who are lovers of money exploit others. People having no natural affection may abuse family members, which can make those family members depressed or suicidal, and even betrayer or disloyal persons leave emotional scars on the victims of their betrayal or disloyalty. Watchtower's talking about themselves. They know how many have committed suicide. They know. They know. See? May abuse family members. That's what your shunning policy is, and disfellowshipping policy. You're abusing ex-members and family members. And like I said before, every single Jehovah's Witness that is shunning a family member or a friend, see? You're abusing them. Watchtower says this themselves. Now I'm going to skip down to the end. It says, haven't people always acted this way? Yes, they have. They have. I mean, you look back to the very beginning. Very beginning. Yes, even in Bible times, some people were selfish and godless. However, the Bible foretold that during the last days, wicked men and impostors would advance from bad to worse. No, this has been going on all along. Right before a collapse of a society or civilization, look at right before the collapse of the Roman Empire, all you have to do is just a little bit of research on history. And you will see this is nothing new. a big part of the Roman civilization collapse, guess what? Corruption. So, to say that it's worse than it's ever been, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute. Because it's been bad. Look back to the Dark Ages. Look back to the Inquisition, the Crusades. Nazi Germany. Look back at your history. Just like now, oh, COVID, the worst pandemic ever. No, it's not. It's bad, but to be honest and look at numbers, the Spanish flu, what was it, killed 18 to 20 million, something like that? That is the worst one so far. The Black Plague. A third of Europe. So, Mike and I love history. We love researching history. So to say that this is the time of the end because men are worse. Well, guess what? Because I can make a comparison and see Watchtower in these things they're talking about, well, then that means you're going to be destroyed right along with the rest of the world. So, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to my rant. And thanks for watching. And thank you for all your emails and comments and cards. We really appreciate it. And gifts. And we love you guys. And you have a wonderful weekend. Bye.